We're back with the stretch walk, tutorial 2, and we'll continue where we left off. If I play this forward, here we go. We've got him anting back in anticipation of the walk, and we got the first stride. So we're going to continue from there. One of the things I want to do is we do have this eye blink here, but as he's walking, here he is, he's looking straight out at the audience. I want to get his eyes looking in the direction of which he's going to be walking. So at frame 40, and again, these are my timeline places where I'm placing things. We can alter those, or you can try some alternatives. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to turn auto key on, and I am going to grab the pupil here and move it forward. So he's looking at where he's going. So in doing that, we laid down a key, but we have a key at 0. So we want to bring that up here. And let's just take a look. So when he's ready to step forward, I have him looking. And we could adjust that still. I'm going to alter it looking a little weird. So I'm going to grab the other pupil and do the same, getting it looking forward. And again, bring this key that went to 0 up here. So let's just play that, take a look. There we go. So that's not bad. Cool. All right, so now we can move forward with the action. So as we saw, moving the pelvis up and down. Now, the one thing I didn't show last one, and going to be important as we move forward on here, if we grab this pelvis here, and I showed this in the first video in the completed version, but I want to show it so we can work with it. And that is up here with the pelvis selected. We go up here to the 4th symbol in from the top. That is motion. If we select on that, and then it defaults to perimeters, but if we go to trajectory, and I believe the newest version, I'm working slightly older version here, as I've got a slightly older computer, but I believe it's called the motion line, motion path, that's right. So, but what it does is it shows, it's starting to show where the position is. Okay. Somehow I got myself an extra key here. I'm going to get rid of this one. Shouldn't have any effect. So what we need to do now is I'm going to be working on tens as I move the character forward. What we want to do is the next major pose, and that's going to be this torso right above this marker, and then this leg being straight up and down, and this foot being flat across on that marker. So within 10 frames, that'll give us a certain speed, and we can play with that after the fact, but I like working in 10s, 5s to make it easier and get a rhythm going. Particularly for walking, rhythm is important. Okay, so on this one, I am going to, now that I've got the pelvis, I am going to move it up to about here, so you can see where it used to be. And here is where the pelvis was, now let me see, maybe I think it's here, is where it was at rest before. So we can kind of position that so that, sorry, I'm just making sure I've got this marked here. There we go. Don't want to grab other pieces. So that on our grid we can see behind. Hopefully we're close to the same position of where we started from here. And then I'm going to move this further. So this just helps us out. And what I'm going to do from here, now let me see. Let me grab the pelvis. So yep. So we got 10 frames here. I'm going to grab this leg, and I'm going to rotate at the hip. Now also what I can do, I have this hinged at this part. What I can also do is I can change its position, so I can bring this back a little bit here. And then what I want to do is and now as I change pivots of things I haven't done before, you can see I'm going to create a key here, but there's nothing before it, so it's going to go to 0. So if I rotate this to flatten that out, here's that key up here. So I want to bring this to this point. So we can take a look and just see how that's happening. So we can see it's overshooting that mark, and I want to reposition the pelvis just so that that is working for us here. I'm going to use the arrow tool, and I'm going to work that right here. So let's see how that looks. Oh. So not too bad. You can see the heel hits, almost hits, and then comes up. So that's pretty solid, and that's what we want. Okay. So what I do need to do now, if you look at the foreground leg, it's kind of floating here. So what we want to use is all of our joints here to get this leg ready at a midpoint to come forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to rotate, bring that forward this way. We're going to fold this back and bring this up this way. So here, I've got to watch here. Oh yeah, so that's good. Again, when I've moved this leg, I had moved it before, so I already have a key there, so I'm good. But if I look at the hip here, yep, I've got one there at 45 as well, so I'm good. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, look at that. So that's how legs work when we're walking. We hip, knee, and ankle is getting that foot up and over, up off the ground and up and over. So that's working great. Okay, so what we need to do next is the arm swing. All has to work at the same time as the legs. So I'm going to be swinging this arm, midpoint, and I'm going to select this arm back here. And again, if you can't find that arm because it's hidden behind the body, then we go up here and we switch to wireframe. Then you can see it and select it very easily. But I just happen to have that shoulder out so we could see it. So I want to bring this arm midpoint. Okay, perfect. So let's see how that works. Yes. So the arms are swinging the right way. So far, so good. And hey, I'm not getting the image dropping out. I shut down, rebooted, cleaned things up, and now it's playing much better. So my apologies for the first tutorial that we're going to the boxes and not seeing the details. And hopefully you can work around that as we move forward on this. This second tutorial will be much clearer. So there we go. So we're getting things happening here. What I can do at this point too, as he's up in the air, we got to think what's going to be happening here with the elements of the character. So I'm thinking that the body can be moving forward, and maybe our head can be moving forward. And since the body's gone up, meaning the head's gone higher, that we can get some delayed reaction here on the hair. We can bring this down, but again, we got to bring this key back to 45. We can grab this one, do the same, and grab that key, bring it back to 45, and then this one. So we bring that down. Because the hair is following the head, and being loose, it's going to have that delayed reaction. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, so looking good. So what we're going to be doing next now, so that's at 55, we've got that straight up and down. We're now going to go to 65, and we're going to have the stride like we had here at this key. At 45, we're going to go to the stride again at 65, but the opposite legs. it's going to be the leg in the foreground stepping forward. So here I'm going to turn off auto key. I'm going to grab our little marker and I'm going to hit shift and create a new one over here, looking at pretty much the same spacing from where we were, and that can be adjusted. It might be too far away, we'll find out, but it gives us a basis to get moving on. Okay, so on this one I'm going to grab the pelvis. So like what we did before, I'm going to move the pelvis midway between these two, and I'm going to try and get it to match this point down here at our trajectory, so that, you know, here with the leg fully extended straight up and down, the character's at his tallest, and when at the stride, it's going to be at the lowest. So I am going to move that. Oh, I'm going to make sure I've got the pelvis. Oh, look at that. I had turned off my auto key because I made this new piece. I didn't want to animate it. So when I move it, I'm just moving the whole character because the pelvis is the center of the character. So I want to turn on auto key, and now when I do that, it will just move the character and animate it. So here, I'm going to try and bring this down about here. And again, we can adjust that. All right. So what's going to be happening is I'm going to animate the arms, because this foreground leg is going to go straight out, and this forward, the arm closest to us is going to go back, because it's going to be the opposite. What I'm going to do, I'm also going to play with the lower arm, and you can see there is a key back here that was the last time I moved that. So one of the things I can do is, you know, if I want to keep that arm, that joint at this position, so I'm going to go 10 frames before that, I'm going to go to set key and hit the plus sign. So that's laid a key down. So now when I go here and I want to do an auto key and adjust that, that action will only happen to the last key. So I can create one using set key to plant that for me. Okay. So I've got different ways of managing our keys and where we're going with things. So now what I want to do, I've got to rotate this. I want to have this leg straight out, and I'm going to take this here. So we can see it's not quite reaching, even though I brought that pelvis down a fair bit. So what I can do is I can bring this leg forward on its pivot, and I can rotate it at the hip so that that is making contact, or as best we can. Okay, so I can, and depending on where that's located and how much space we got, I might be able to even bring it down a touch to make that marker. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got. Is everything going fine? I always like to check to make sure things are not going crazy on us. Now I've got something funny going on here. Yeah, look at this. I changed the position of the legs, and I haven't accounted for that. So look at those legs coming closer together. And that's not really what I wanted them to do. So let me go here. And I didn't want to move that until this point, or even this point. So what I got to do is I want to move that back on the frame before. So I'm going to bring this back in position, and want to make sure that that stays and doesn't do anything funny. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that is not moving. Yeah, so that's great. So I got to do the same with this leg, because again, I did a move. Before I was just using the pivot rotation, but now I move the position and it's going to go from 0 as well. And I don't want to do that. I just want it to move at this point. So I want it to get it back in a position here. So I'm going to move it forward a bit. Let's see where it lands there. Now when we move it, see it's still. Then we're moving forward. So we can see all this is looking pretty good, except that foot in the background, the one back here. When we move here, it is sliding everywhere. So what I need to do is try and keep that foot, or at least the toe, at this point planted on the edge of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate at the hip on the back one. I'm going to rotate here, and I am going to rotate at the ankle. So it's not too bad. What I can do, just to help this, is that I've been moving the position, so I can move that back further and make that work a little better. And again, once we make a move, it's always nice just to check, just see how well that's working. How solid is that foot planting and staying there? It's got a little bit of issue. It's kind of sliding a little bit. So maybe what I want to do at this point, at that upright, I want to maybe rotate that a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to, and again, a little hard to see what's happening there, but I'm going to, there we go. So that's gotten that back flat on there. See how that's hits planet staying there until we get to this point. So we'll be working on that a little bit. Okay, so I can just adjust this. And again, it's trying to get that toe on this end so it doesn't look like it's sliding. And I can move this back a little bit. And again, how much you want to finesse or make that work, totally up to you. And again, this is us practicing with this character. These are things to keep in mind, that you have the joints necessary and be able to get that character good and solid walking. So this isn't too bad. Moving along. So what I need to do, I just want to find my key, and I'm here. So I want to grab that shoulder back here. I want to swing this arm forward. And I might want to grab this forearm. Hang on, I'm going to go back. I don't think I laid that key right on the 65. Just keep everything symmetrical and working right. Then what I can do too, I'm going to grab this. And again, I don't have any keys here. So what I'm going to do, go back 5 and do my set key and hit the plus. So I've laid down a key. Now I'm going to go back here because what I want to do is I want to bend that elbow up. There we go. So let's see what happens. So you can see it starts really coming alive once we start. The more pivots and using elbows and knees and hips and the ankles and things really makes them come very much alive. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to swing the body back and bring the head back. And now because the body's gone down, I'm going to grab the hair here. I'm going to swing that back. And again, we can play with exaggeration, which is a principle of animation, or we can be a little more subtle with certain things. But hopefully when we get going here, we'll see that overlapping action, that delayed reaction on the hair being quite effective. Okay, there we go. So we just keep going through the process. So I'm going to go up to 75, and with the pelvis selected, of which I still have the motion path, or in my case the trajectory, now we can move that above here and get it up to this point here again. So I'm going to grab that. Hang on, just make sure I'm grabbing the right thing. And moving. Oh, keep grabbing the wrong. I keep shifting on me. No. No, wrong bit. There we go. So I can bring that up. So hopefully it's close to here. And again, I can adjust it if I don't have it right. But this is to get us on our way. And on this one, I'm going to swing that down. And if necessary, I am going to move it. I'm going to move this here, and then I'm going to, because I think this is working pretty good. So this is pretty straight down. But what I'm probably going to do is to keep that on here. I'm going to shift the pelvis back. So hopefully that's good and solid. There we go. Boom. And again, that heel starts to shift a little bit, goes down into it a little. I can adjust the pelvis here. Oh boy, my mouse isn't all that accurate here. There we go. So hopefully that keeps it. Sorry. There we go. Hey, that's perfect. Let's see. Bang. There we go. Boom. Looking good. Good and solid. So, with this here, I just want to make sure I'm at 75. So I'm at that up position. And when I'm thinking, sometimes it's good to have a little checklist. I'm going to move that forward. I'm going to move the head forward. Because he's on the up position. Maybe I moved that too far. There we go. We can grab each of the hair and bend them down for overlapping action. And away we go. The outer ring seems to work best on that. And now if I'm doing this, now again what we're doing is we're swinging this arm here. I can be grabbing this and moving that up a bit. I can be straightening this arm out and bringing this one down here. And here's the biggie. I am going to swing that forward. Hang on, maybe what I'm going to do is, again, we want to get that foot up and over, so I'm going to bend at the knee. I'm going to bend at the ankle, and then I'm going to bring this upper leg forward at the hip. There we go. So let's see what we got. Yeah, so it's working pretty good, pretty smooth. And again, that blink we threw in there is helping, just keeping them alive and making that work. So that's cool. Great. So I'm going to do one more step, and I'm going to bring that marker over so we can see where the next stride's going to be. So I'm going to turn that off, grab this, and my arrow tool, hit shift, and just scoot that over here, keeping about the same distance as where we were. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. And what we want to do, like my sample, I mean, we're here, we anticipate back, then we come forward, and then we're going to come to a stop. Okay, so I'm going to do the next stride again, which will be just like the stride we had back here, and then we'll make them come to rest, I think. And we'll see if we need, how many more frames we need to make that happen. So we're at 85. So again, I am going to grab the pelvis, and again, I forgot to turn on auto key again. I turned it off to make that duplicate marker, and forgot to turn it back on, but at least I can tell right away and save what's happening there. There we go. And now again, looking at what we have here, we want to get that nice flow. One of the principles of animation is arc. So we want to see in the trajectory paths nice arcs going on and nice and smooth ones, because that, depicts human motion the best. When we see the motion paths working right, then we know the animation should be correct. Okay, so this leg should be going back, so we're going to be, I want to swing the arms here so that I can see the legs. So that one would be coming forward, this one in behind. If I can see it or not, here I'm gonna, maybe since I'm here, I'm gonna bring that up. And we can go back and tweak all of this and finesse things really nicely. Back here. So now this leg, I am going to straighten that right out here and here. You can see it doesn't quite reach, but this is where we can grab that leg and now use the arrow tool and bring that hip joint, that leg further forward and down so that knee is hitting right at the edge of that marker. Cool. All right, so you can check, make sure that's working. So everything's good, but you can see we've got to fix this leg because that toe's got to stay right here so that we don't have any issues there. Okay, so there we go. We go here, going 85. So now I am going to rotate that and I can reposition, get that back here. Maybe too high. And I can bend the knee back. So I'm going to bring the leg, this forward leg forward. And get this working with the toe. Maybe bring this down just a touch. There we go. Then we can take a look and see, is that solid? Is that, yep, not too bad. Yeah, we're going to have to go back and do some little tweaks, because once we see where that foot is hitting, is it staying there or is it shifting too much? You can see it's gone down quite a bit. That toe's gone down and through, so we want to get that up. So we have to do some adjustment there. Here's good. That's good and solid. We might have to bring the leg forward or the whole character forward here so that this is working properly. Let me just see. And then that's bending. So maybe at this point, if I straighten this out and bring that down, that will hopefully keep the character solid. Yeah, not too bad. And again, we're here at the stride, and I think what we're doing, if I got it right, I'm gonna tilt that back. I'm not sure if I tilted the head forward before, but now that we're down, the hair's going up, so we can get that overlapping action happening. Okay, cool. So we play that through. Oh, look at that, I got a trajectory line, so you can see that nice arcs happening here just on the hair, the base of the hair where it's connected, so that's working well. Okay, cool. So we're getting pretty close to the end of our timeline. We can add more frames. Two ways we can do that. We can go down here where it says time configuration. If we click on that, this gives us a pop-up window which will allow us to add some frames to our timeline. And let's see which one it is that allows that. There we go. So I can add up to, yeah, as many as you want. So maybe I'll do Try and get it to 140 or so. Yeah, 138. Anyway, so it gives us more frames to work with. The other thing we can do, if you have your mouse over the timeline, and I believe, let me see if I've got this right. Yeah. So if you hold down Control and Alt at the same time, right click, and then push your mouse back and forth, you can contract or expand the timeline as well. So that's kind of a shortcut. Either way is acceptable. Whatever you're comfortable with and have control over is what's important there. Okay. All right. So what we need to do next. So what do we got? We've got 1, 2, 3 steps. So we'll have them come to a stop at this point. So at 85, so at 89, we need them to have that upright position, and then we've got to slow them down and settle them into a stop. So we've got to make that convincing. So let's get to the next step here. And again, we got everything working pretty well there. And we're going to shift the pelvis and get that up here. Put this part here. And we can shift this and rotate on that leg. Hang on. Okay, now why can't I grab that? There we go. Not too bad. What I can do now is arrow tool, so I can bring that hip back and up. Yeah, that doesn't look too good. So I'll have to bring that pelvis back into position. Or, you know, in this case, I mean, I can, let me see, let me go back. Yeah, see, that's where I want that to be. So here, I gotta have that foot's gotta be where the heel was. So I do have to bring this position back so that's good and solid. We don't want it sliding. There we go. Nice. So again, while we're here in this position, I am going to get the hip here. So, as you can see, there's quite a bit to get a character moving and animating properly. Yeah, kind of wonder, well, isn't there just auto things or press buttons, press a button, it all does it for you? Well, maybe for a generic walk and such, but what you want to do is you want to give very special characterization to all of your animation and all your characters having very different movement and timing. So you can only do that finesse by animating each limb one key at a time. Animation's always been a laborious process, and this is showing us that. But it's great when we see that character coming alive. And again, as animators, you know, we want control over the character, and we want to put all that personality in, and that's all done one frame at a time. Yeah, I want to make sure that on this frame I had moved the body back. So, and again, we've done basic movements here. We can exaggerate. We can go back and push some of that motion so that it really has some character and exaggeration, having some real fun with it. Okay, I'm going to move this forward. So here, in this one, we're going to make them stop. So we got him in this upright position here. So he's slowing down to come to that stop. So I'm going to exaggerate that a bit. So I'm going to go to frame 100. And I am going to move that forward a bit. Maybe bring this forward a bit. I'm going to bring this arm and maybe bring this up a bit. Let me go over here, bring that one up a bit. Oh, let me see. I'm going to bring that one back. Oh, lost it there. Anyway, let's see what happens. Yeah, so what I want to do, I want to get in back there, so I'm going to grab the wireframe so I can grab that part of the arm and bring that forward. And back to flat color. And I don't want to freeze, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hip in here, keep moving that leg. So that's all anticipation overrun, and then have them settle into this position. So we want to bring that leg down right up here. So I'm going to turn this off. Yeah, I did turn it off. No, I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to figure out where the other leg's going to go. So I'm grabbing this and bringing that forward so that that foot will land here where we had kind of things in the first place. Okay, so turn that back on. And yeah, so I'm going to go to 5, and I am going to bring this character down and back a bit. And in doing that, I am going to get that foot to stay up here. So I'm going to bend the leg somewhat. Get that, bring that leg up, and this leg I'm going to rotate that down, bring this down. Again, I'm going to maybe move the position of this hip a little bit. There we go. Don't want to take it off the hip, but I do want to plant that foot down. So maybe what I need to do here is straighten that leg a little bit more. Straighten this one a little more. Flatten the foot. And maybe swing that just a little bit more here. Bring that forward. And the leg here. Gonna bring this up. So anyways, I hope this gives you an idea, and this is all for you to play with. Oh, that looks weird. Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to fix what's happening with that leg, but let me see. Maybe if I get the rest of this action working the way I'm hoping, it will look a little better. Oh, it doesn't look too bad when it's like that. And then I'm going to a little more subtle here. Bring the head up. So I'd move the key to get the character to settle better. Let's just play that and see how it's going to look. Might be a little funny. Oh, it kind of pops there. I'll have to fix that, yeah. Yeah, but still, not too bad. I don't know why I didn't give myself many frames there. There we go. So, yeah. And I think what a lot of that needs here, particularly all this leg action here, I think if I slow that down, let's take a look. Yeah, that's all it was. It was just a little too fast. So timing makes a big difference. So let's just take a look here. There we go. But again, I'm trying to get follow through here. When it comes to a stop, momentum keeps the limbs and the head kind of moving forward and then coming back and settling in the position. So here, so I can adjust the hair here as well as it comes back. Again, to keep everything alive, we got to keep everything moving, but it's got to make sense and it's got to work with the principles of physics. There we go. So little things going on there. So that gives us the basic motion and such. What we need to do next, we've got to go back and we're going to finesse things. We're going to be adding some more little things to really have him come alive.